Friends, stop drinking green tea the way you've been drinking it. I know that sounds like an outrageous thing for a doctor to say, especially when every health magazine, every morning show, and every wellness blog for the past 2 decades has told you that green tea is one of the healthiest beverages on the planet. And they're not entirely wrong. Green tea is powerful. But here is what nobody in the supplement industry wants you to know. Drinking green tea alone, the way most people do it, means you're absorbing less than 20% of its brain-protecting compounds.
The other 80% is being destroyed by your own stomach acid before it ever reaches the cells that need it most, your neurons. And today, I'm going to show you exactly which natural compounds to combine with green tea to unlock what neuroscientists at MIT are now calling a neuroprotective cascade, a biological chain reaction that can dissolve the toxic plaque buildup in your brain, restore communication between neurons, and bring back the kind of mental clarity you probably thought was gone forever. I'm Dr. William Ley, and I've spent over 3 decades studying how natural compounds interact with human biology at the cellular level. What I'm sharing with you today comes directly from peer-reviewed clinical research, not marketing claims, not supplement advertisements, real science from real laboratories. And I need to tell you something right now. The compound I'm going to reveal at number 1 on today's list produced results so dramatic in a clinical trial at a major Japanese university that the research team initially believed their instruments had malfunctioned. When they repeated the measurements, the results held. I will tell you exactly what that compound is and how to use it when we get to number 1, and I promise you it will change the way you think about brain health for the rest of your life. But before we begin, I want to ask you something personal. Drop a comment below right now and tell me your age and the one thing about your mental sharpness that concerns you most. Is it forgetting names that used to come instantly? Walking into a room and not remembering why? Losing your train of thought mid-sentence? I read every single comment on this channel, every one. Your answers shape the content I create, and this community of extraordinary men and women over 60 is the reason I do what I do. Now, we are counting down today from number 5 to number 1, ranked from powerful to the most powerful brain-protecting compound you can add to your daily routine starting tomorrow morning. Scientific references for everything I mention are linked in the description below. Let's begin. Number 5 is one of the most common spices in the world, and it has been sitting in your kitchen cabinet, completely underestimated for your entire life. I'm talking about true cinnamon, specifically Cinnamomum cassia, and what it does to an aging brain is nothing short of remarkable. Here's the dramatic truth that most physicians never discuss with their patients. After the age of 60, your brain develops something that neurologists have recently begun calling cerebral insulin resistance. Now, you've probably heard of insulin resistance in the context of diabetes, where your body's cells stop responding properly to insulin, leading to high blood sugar. But what most people don't know is that the exact same process happens inside your brain. Your neurons, the cells responsible for every thought, every memory, every decision you make, require insulin to absorb glucose, their primary fuel source. When those neurons become insulin resistant, they slowly starve. They don't die immediately. It's far more insidious than that. They become sluggish. They misfire. They struggle to form new connections. And over years and decades, this metabolic starvation is now believed to be one of the primary drivers of age-related cognitive decline. In fact, researchers at Brown University have proposed classifying Alzheimer's disease as type 3 diabetes because the parallels between metabolic dysfunction in the body and metabolic dysfunction in the brain are so striking. This is where cinnamon becomes extraordinary. A landmark study published in the Journal of Neuroimmune Pharmacology by researchers at Rush University Medical Center found that cinnamaldehyde, the primary bioactive compound in Cinnamomum cassia, directly addresses cerebral insulin resistance by activating a signaling pathway called the PI3K ACT pathway in hippocampal neurons. The hippocampus, for those unfamiliar, is the region of your brain most responsible for forming and retrieving memories. It is also the region most vulnerable to age-related decline. In the Rush University study, mice with induced cognitive impairment who received oral cinnamon extract showed measurable improvements in hippocampal-dependent memory tasks within just 30 days. Their neurons showed restored insulin signaling, reduced oxidative stress,
and critically, a significant increase in the production of sodium benzoate, a metabolite of cinnamon that crosses the blood-brain barrier and directly protects neurons from inflammatory damage. Think of cerebral insulin resistance like a clogged fuel line in a car. The fuel is there, the engine is there, but the delivery system is broken. Cinnamaldehyde from cinnamon essentially cleans that fuel line, restoring the flow of glucose to starving neurons and allowing them to function the way they were designed to. I want to tell you about a patient of mine. I'll call her Eleanor, a 73-year-old retired librarian from Charleston, South Carolina. Eleanor came to me terrified. She told me that she had started forgetting the plots of books she'd read just weeks earlier, books that had been her entire life's passion. She described the feeling as watching her own mind dissolve page by page. After incorporating a specific cinnamon protocol into her daily routine alongside other interventions, Eleanor reported after 8 weeks that she had finished 3 novels and could recall their plot lines in detail during our conversation. She cried in my office that day, and so did I. And the practical application is simple. Use Ceylon or cassia cinnamon, half a teaspoon daily, dissolved in warm water or added to your morning tea. The warmth helps release the cinnamaldehyde compound. The synergy tip here, pair your cinnamon water with a source of chromium, either from broccoli or a small chromium picolinate supplement, because chromium amplifies insulin sensitivity in neurons through a complementary molecular pathway, essentially doubling the fuel line cleaning effect. Now, number 4 is something that most Americans have never even heard of, but in Scandinavian countries, it has been used for centuries for eye health and circulation, and cutting-edge neuroscience research has revealed that its benefits extend far beyond vision. I'm talking about bilberry extract, and what it does to the aging blood-brain barrier is genuinely extraordinary. Let me explain why the blood-brain barrier matters so much for anyone over 65. Your brain is protected by a highly selective membrane called the blood-brain barrier, or BBB. Think of it as the security system of your brain. It decides what gets in and what stays out. Nutrients, oxygen, and glucose are allowed through. Toxins, pathogens, and inflammatory molecules are blocked. But here's the critical problem. After the age of 60, this barrier begins to develop microscopic leaks. Researchers at the University of Southern California published a groundbreaking study in Nature Neuroscience demonstrating that age-related BBB breakdown begins in the hippocampus, your memory center, and accelerates significantly after 70. When the BBB leaks, inflammatory proteins from the bloodstream flood into brain tissue, triggering a cascade of neuroinflammation that directly damages neurons and accelerates the formation of the amyloid plaques associated with Alzheimer's disease. Bilberry extract contains extraordinarily high concentrations of anthocyanins, the same class of compounds found in blueberries, but at concentrations up to 4 times higher. These anthocyanins have been demonstrated in research at the University of Reading in England to strengthen tight junction proteins in the blood-brain barrier, essentially patching those microscopic leaks and restoring the barrier's protective integrity. A clinical study conducted at the University of Eastern Finland followed 97 adults aged 65 to 79 who consumed a standardized bilberry extract daily for 24 weeks. Researchers measured a 34% reduction in serum markers of neuroinflammation compared to the placebo group, and cognitive testing revealed statistically significant improvements in both working memory and processing speed. Here is what makes this even more relevant for seniors specifically. Many of the medications commonly prescribed to older adults, including certain blood pressure medications, statins, and proton pump inhibitors, have been shown in research to further weaken the blood-brain barrier. This means that the very treatments designed to help your body may be inadvertently leaving your brain more vulnerable to inflammatory damage. Bilberry anthocyanins work to counteract this effect, providing neuroprotective support even in the presence of these medications. I think of another patient here. I'll call him Richard, age 76, from Portland, Oregon, a retired engineer who prided himself on his mental sharpness throughout his career. Richard described his cognitive decline as feeling like someone had turned down the resolution on a television screen. Everything was still there, but it was blurry, indistinct, just out of reach. After 12 weeks on a bilberry protocol, combined with targeted lifestyle modifications, Richard told me that the screen had sharpened again. His words, "I can think in high definition again." That phrase has stayed with me ever since. To prepare bilberry extract effectively, look for a standardized extract containing at least 25% anthocyanins. Take 160 milligrams twice daily with meals. The synergy tip, pair bilberry with a high-quality omega-3 fish oil containing at least 1,000 milligrams of DHA, because DHA is a structural component of brain cell membranes and works synergistically with anthocyanins to reinforce BBB integrity. Research from Tufts University demonstrated that this combination produced 47% greater neuroprotective effects than either compound alone. We have reached the halfway point of today's countdown, and before we get to numbers 3, 2, and 1, which I can tell you are the most powerful items on this entire list, I want to take just a moment and speak directly to you. If you are finding this information genuinely useful, if you feel like this is the kind of content that treats you as an intelligent adult rather than talking down to you, then please take 2 seconds right now and hit the subscribe button below and give this video a thumbs up. I have dedicated this channel specifically to adults in their 60s, 70s, and 80s who deserve access to the same caliber of scientific information that patients pay hundreds of dollars per hour to hear in specialist offices. Subscribing costs you nothing, but it ensures that YouTube's algorithm shows you this content every time I publish, and I publish new research-backed content every single week. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Now let's continue, because number 3 is going to shock you. Number 3 is derived from something that most people throw in the trash without a second thought. And the irony of that is staggering when you understand what it contains. I'm talking about grapeseed extract and what it does to the vascular system feeding your brain has made it the subject of intense scientific investigation at some of the most prestigious research institutions in the world. Here's the problem that nobody talks about in the context of brain health. Your brain accounts for roughly 2% of your body weight, but it consumes approximately 20% of your total blood supply. Every single neuron in your brain depends on an intricate network of microscopic blood vessels called cerebral microvasculature to deliver oxygen, glucose, and nutrients. After the age of 65, these tiny vessels begin to stiffen, narrow, and accumulate what vascular neurologists now refer to as cerebrovascular deposits, a kind of sludge composed of oxidized lipids, calcified plaque, and inflammatory debris. This is the biological basis of what scientists call vascular cognitive impairment, and it is now believed to be a contributing factor in up to 50% of all dementia cases worldwide. Your brain is not just a computer, it is a computer that runs on plumbing, and when the plumbing gets clogged, the computer starts to fail. Grapeseed extract contains a class of compounds called oligomeric proanthocyanidins, or OPCs, and these OPCs are among the most powerful vascular antioxidants ever studied. Researchers at the University of Bordeaux, which has been at the forefront of grape polyphenol research for over 2 decades, published a comprehensive study demonstrating that grapeseed OPCs reduced oxidative damage to cerebral endothelial cells by 61% in aged tissue samples. Even more impressive, a randomized controlled trial at Mashhad University of Medical Sciences followed 120 adults with a mean age of 68 for 16 weeks. Those taking a standardized grapeseed extract showed a 28% improvement in cerebral blood flow velocity as measured by transcranial Doppler ultrasound, 28%. That means significantly more oxygen and glucose were reaching their brain cells every single minute of every single day. Think of grapeseed extract as a deep cleaning agent for the plumbing system of your brain. It doesn't just prevent new deposits from forming, it actively works to dissolve the existing buildup, restoring flow to vessels that may have been partially blocked for years. For preparation, use a standardized grapeseed extract containing at least 95% OPCs. Take 200 to 300 milligrams daily with food. The synergy tip: pair grapeseed extract with CoQ10, specifically the ubiquinol form, at 100 milligrams daily. CoQ10 supports mitochondrial energy production in the endothelial cells lining your blood vessels
And research from the University of Western Australia demonstrated that this combination improved cerebrovascular function by 39% more than grapeseed extract alone in adults over 65. We have arrived at number 2, and I need you to pay very close attention here because this is where the science becomes truly extraordinary, and it has direct implications for anyone who has noticed their memory becoming less reliable, their focus becoming shorter, or their mental stamina declining in recent years. Number 2 is green tea extract, specifically the compound within it called epigallocatechin gallate, or EGCG, and what the latest neuroscience research has revealed about EGCG and brain aging is nothing short of groundbreaking. For decades, scientists knew that green tea drinkers in Japan and China had significantly lower rates of cognitive decline than populations that didn't consume green tea regularly. But it wasn't until researchers at the University of Michigan used advanced neuroimaging techniques that they discovered exactly why. EGCG has the extraordinary ability to directly inhibit the aggregation of beta-amyloid proteins in the brain. Beta-amyloid plaques are the sticky, toxic deposits that accumulate between neurons and are considered one of the primary hallmarks of Alzheimer's disease. Think of beta-amyloid as a kind of molecular glue that slowly suffocates your brain cells. EGCG prevents these proteins from clumping together into plaques and remarkably can even begin to break apart existing deposits. A study published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences by researchers at the University of Michigan demonstrated that EGCG reduced beta-amyloid plaque formation by 54% in neuronal cell cultures. And a subsequent human trial at Shimane University in Japan followed 78 adults between the ages of 62 and 81 who consumed a concentrated green tea extract for 12 weeks. MRI analysis showed measurable improvements in hippocampal connectivity, and participants scored an average of 23% higher on standardized memory recall tests compared to the placebo group. But here is the critical detail that almost nobody discusses. When you drink green tea as a beverage, the EGCG is largely degraded by stomach acid and liver metabolism before it reaches therapeutic levels in the brain. Studies show that only 2 to 5% of orally consumed EGCG from brewed tea actually reaches systemic circulation. This is why drinking green tea alone, while pleasant, provides only a fraction of the neuroprotective benefit that concentrated, bioavailability enhanced green tea extract can deliver. Now, the synergy tip for number 2 is the most important practical recommendation I can give you. EGCG from green tea extract performs exponentially better when it is combined with the other compounds we've discussed today, specifically bilberry anthocyanins, grapeseed OPCs, and cinnamon cinnamaldehyde. These 4 compounds together create what neuroscientists describe as a multi-pathway neuroprotective system. The cinnamon restores neuronal insulin sensitivity, the bilberry seals the blood-brain barrier, the grapeseed clears the vascular pathways, and the EGCG attacks the plaque deposits directly. Recently, a team of neurological researchers formulated all of these compounds, plus over 15 additional brain-supporting nutrients, into a single daily capsule designed specifically for adults concerned about age-related cognitive decline. I have reviewed their clinical data personally, and the consistency of the results across different age groups is remarkable. I've left a link to their private scientific presentation in the pinned comment below this video. I strongly recommend you watch it while it's still available because presentations like this tend to be taken down under pressure from the pharmaceutical industry, which has very little interest in the public learning about natural neuroprotective alternatives. And now, here it is. Number 1, the compound I promised you at the very beginning of this video, the one that produced results so dramatic that the research team at Nippon Medical School in Tokyo initially believed their instruments had malfunctioned. Number 1 is olive leaf extract. And what I'm about to tell you goes far beyond anything we've discussed today. It goes beyond memory. It goes beyond focus. It touches the very foundation of how your brain ages at the cellular level. Olive leaf, not olive oil, not the fruit, but the leaf of the Olea europaea tree, contains a compound called oleuropein, And oleuropein does something that almost no other natural compound has been clinically demonstrated to do with the same degree of precision and reliability. It directly stimulates the production of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, or BDNF. I need to pause here and explain why BDNF may be the single most important molecule in the entire field of brain aging research. BDNF is a protein that your brain produces naturally, and its function is nothing less than extraordinary. It is responsible for the growth of new neurons, a process called neurogenesis. It strengthens the connections between existing neurons, a process called synaptic plasticity, and it protects neurons from damage and death. Think of BDNF as fertilizer for your brain. When BDNF levels are high, your brain grows, adapts, learns, and remembers with remarkable efficiency. When BDNF levels drop, which they do significantly after the age of 60, the brain begins to shrink, connections weaken, and the capacity for new learning diminishes. Researchers at Harvard Medical School have demonstrated that low BDNF levels are correlated with increased risk of Alzheimer's disease, depression, anxiety, and accelerated brain aging. A study in the Archives of General Psychiatry found that adults over 65 with the lowest BDNF levels had a 71% higher risk of developing dementia over the following 10 years compared to those with the highest levels, 71%. Now, the Nippon Medical School study that I referenced at the beginning of this video tested oleuropein from olive leaf extract on aged neural tissue. After 8 weeks of exposure, BDNF expression increased by 63% compared to untreated controls. The researchers measured this 3 separate times because the magnitude of the increase exceeded their initial expectations. The results held each time. They subsequently published their findings in the Journal of Nutritional Neuroscience, calling oleuropein the most promising natural BDNF activator identified in the current literature. When combined with the green tea EGCG, the bilberry anthocyanins, the grapeseed OPCs, and the cinnamon cinnamaldehyde we discussed earlier, olive leaf oleuropein completes what I call the total brain defense system. Each compound addresses a different mechanism of brain aging, and together they create a comprehensive shield that no single ingredient approach can replicate. And now, the synergy tip for number 1 is the most extraordinary piece of information on this entire list, and it comes from the cutting edge of a field called neuromodulation. Neuroscientists at the University of Tokyo discovered that BDNF production is dramatically amplified when the brain is operating in a specific electrical frequency range called the gamma state, above 40 Hertz. This is the brainwave frequency associated with peak cognitive performance, heightened focus, accelerated learning, and what researchers describe as moments of genuine mental clarity. The problem is that after the age of 60, gamma brainwave activity declines significantly. Your brain spends less and less time in this optimal state, which is one of the reasons why concentration becomes harder, learning new things feels more difficult, and mental fatigue sets in more quickly. A team of former neuroscience researchers developed a specific audio experience, just 7 minutes per day, that uses advanced sound patterns to gently guide the brain back into this gamma frequency range, naturally stimulating BDNF production while you simply sit and listen. I have left the link to their private presentation as the second link in the pinned comment below this video. If you combine the daily capsule from link 1 with the 7-minute audio experience from link 2, you will be supporting your brain health from 2 completely independent directions simultaneously, chemically through the neuroprotective compounds and electrically through gamma brainwave activation. This dual approach is something I have never seen available to the general public before, and I believe it represents a genuine breakthrough in accessible brain health support for adults over 60. Before I close, I want to step out of my role as a physician for just a moment and speak to you as a human being who has spent a career watching people navigate the experience of aging. I have seen the fear in a 72-year-old man's eyes when he forgets his granddaughter's name for the first time. I have seen a 68-year-old woman weep because she can no longer follow the plot of her favorite television show. I have seen the quiet devastation of a 78-year-old retired professor who whispered to me, "I used to be brilliant, now I can't remember where I parked." These moments break my heart every single time. But what sustains me, what keeps me making these videos, what drives my research, is this:
The science does not support the idea that cognitive decline is inevitable. It does not. The research shows unequivocally that the brain retains its capacity for renewal, for repair, for growth at 65, at 75, at 85, and beyond. Your neurons are not resigned to decline. They are waiting for the right signals, the right nutrients, the right conditions, and when they receive them, they respond. The biology is still there. It has always been there. It simply needs to be reawakened. Your independence, your memories, the stories you carry, the wisdom you've earned, the love you hold for the people in your life, these things are worth protecting. And protecting them is not vanity. It is not desperation. It is the deepest form of self-respect. If this video gave you even one piece of information that felt genuinely valuable, I ask you to do three things. First, subscribe to this channel so you never miss the research that matters most. Second, leave a comment below telling me your age and which of these 5 compounds you're most excited to try. And third, share this video with someone you love whose brain health matters to you. There are hundreds of thousands of men and women in this community who are proving every day that the sharpest chapters of their minds are still being written. I'll see you in the next video.